Hello and welcome to Supplement City, a nutrition webinar. My name is Stephanie Dean. I am a wellness program manager with Baylor Scott & White Health, and I'm also a registered dietitian and I'm board certified in sports dietetics. So I am excited to talk to you today about supplements and to just become a more educated consumer and to figure out how supplements work into a healthy eating plan to keep you healthy. So let's get started. We're going to go over 3 objectives, and here I have them written out. First of all, I want us to discuss why it's important to be supplement savvy. Then we're going to review supplement facts. And we're going to look at the how-to. How are you going to research supplements, and how do you put it all together when you look at what is my personal health goal, where does my eating plan fit into it, and then also the supplement component. We have several reasons to be supplement savvy. Here, I usually don't like to start off with a negative, but I do want us to avoid adverse events. There was a study that came out in October of 2015 by New England Journal of Medicine, and they actually researched supplement causes of emergency room visits over 10 years, and they tallied information from 63 different emergency room departments from 2004 through 2013, and that can we determine which appointments were cause was a dietary supplement, and what led to the problems. And usually patients were in the emergency room due to an allergic reaction or trouble, something like a heart palpitation due to a supplement, or nausea and vomiting, so gastrointestinal distress because they took supplements. One thing that is interesting is that they realized that of those who had kind of reaction to supplements, that 28% were young adults between the ages of 20 and 34 years old. So this is really the millennial group. So if you're a millennial, this may be a topic that you want to pay attention to. 21% were unsupervised children, so maybe kids who found a supplement and thought it tasted like candy and they went at it. And then 37% were older adults and really looked at choking issues where it lodged in their throat and they had difficulty swallowing. So for the purposes of this webinar, we're really just going to focus on the 28%, the young adults, the millennial group, and that is because that really encompasses more the allergic reaction, the heart troubles, and the nausea and vomiting, the gastrointestinal distress. And one interesting thing that the study revealed is that among this group, among the young adults, half of these cases were caused by supplements marketed to help with weight loss and increase energy. So a lot of times as a dietitian, when I met with people in the past, many of their health goal relates to weight loss or weight maintenance, so that's something that they're paying attention to. And also, a lot of people are fatigued and they want to increase their energy. You know, maybe they have a young family and they have a busy schedule and they come home and they have a 2-year-old that just wants to play, or, you know, they're just exhausted from really an overpacked schedule. So things that have a claim of will help you lose weight or will increase your energy really do appeal to a lot of people. So we're going to look at what evidence-based medicine says about these things and how this fits into your healthy eating plan. So also just a second reason to be supplement savvy is that we want you to make smart choices based on evidence-based research. Not just one person's story or what worked for them, but really what does research shows works again and again. What claims can really be backed up by science. Get started, I want us to look at some supplement facts, and that really, we need to step back and look at, well, what are some of the regulatory processes that go on in America? And this means we need to look at some of what the Food and Drug Administration does. So the FDA doesn't need to approve supplements prior to sell. So when you go to a store or you're looking online and you plan on buying a supplement, just know that what's out there hasn't gone through a rigorous testing process before they could sell it to you. They really can sell it and they is responsible for taking action against any adulterated or misbranded supplements after they're already on the market. So if someone has had an adverse reaction, maybe they ended up in the hospital or sometimes even caused death, that's when the FDA gets involved. They don't get involved at the beginning. So just so you know, this is another reason to be supplement savvy. The FDA is a regulatory agent, but really they just investigate problems. They aren't on the front end. And then we have the Dietary Supplement Health Education Act, which you may hear some about. And they do place a regulation saying that supplements are not allowed to market that they cure disease. For example, they can't cure diabetes or heart disease. But supplements can say that they treat symptoms. So this is kind of where, you got to read between the lines. What are they actually saying? What is the actual claim? And the Dietary Supplement Health Education Act does not require safe testing. So supplements really are in a different category than medications and drugs that you would purchase from a pharmacy or get prescribed by your doctor when it comes to the rigors of testing prior to going on the market. Matt, where do you get information on supplements? I'm going to tell you about 4 different resources. The first one is often only available to health professionals, but I did it would be a benefit to show you that this is out there. So this is something that your physician, a registered dietitian you're meeting with, or pharmacist would have access to. So this because a day such as natural medicines, there's several out there, actually do review evidence-based medicine and show you, lean to a specific claim for a supplement. What does research show us? So let's have a little fun and do some research. Just to look at several different vitamins. To start off, let's look at vitamin E, because this is one vitamin that has been shown to be helpful for some things. A fat-soluble vitamin. You have fat-soluble vitamins are A, D, E, and K. This is one that isn't always recommended to supplement because fat-soluble vitamins can become more toxic, and so, but appropriate to supplement at certain times. So if your healthcare professional was looking up this information, they have access to what is vitamin E used for, is it effective, and I do want to show you that there is quite a bit of research on some supplements. So this is one of them. It's been shown to be for movement disorder, vitamin E deficiency. Then you have studies that show possibly effective for, and the whole list, and it keeps going and going and going. So vitamin E has been shown to help a few conditions, and then it goes to possibly ineffective for. So this is where, as a healthcare professional, you're really evaluating, does the cost of the supplement really equal the benefit, and possibly not, as we come here. So you have a whole list of what specific claims have been tested for vitamin E, then the likely effective for, and the insufficient evidence for, which means we really don't have enough studies to look at this. So whenever you're looking at a vitamin or a supplement, you want to look at the specific claim. And as with things in a lot of health, case-by-case situation. You can have one person or that it would be everything would be appropriate for, or one supplement that's appropriate for everyone. We do want to look who is our target population, kind of who's asking, is this supplement appropriate for us? So, is the claim appropriate? Then you have special precautions and warnings. So this is why it's important to loop in your health professional, because there are some concerns. The other thing with supplements is a lot of times we think natural when we think supplements, but they do interact with medications. So that's something to be aware of when you're working with supplements. So there are dosing recommendations based on often the claim. Why are you taking the supplement? Are you taking it to reduce risk of Alzheimer's disease, or do you have a concern about the fatty liver? That's something that vitamin E has sometimes been prescribed for. So these are conditions, well, why are you taking it? And that will determine the dose. And it's taken into account also any medications that you're currently having. So that is one supplement I wanted to show you where we do have quite a bit of research for. But I also wanted to show you another one that's been in the news recently, the green coffee. You know, do you have great research on all of these supplements, and some of them we searched for before we can really recommend it. Let's go to the handout for green coffee, get a description of it for, what possibly effective for, and then sufficient evidence for. So anytime it's possibly, we really don't have a whole lot of research for. I have to see likely effective for, and we just don't have that here. I know this has been one that's in the news, and as you can see, we don't have as much research as with vitamin E. So should someone recommend it, it's less likely to be recommended because we did the research behind it. This is one example on green tea. I also wanted to show you one that's been, I've seen it trending on Facebook, I've seen advertisements, and Garcinia, and typically marketed as a supplement. Here I'll show you some of the behind it. Insufficient evidence for. So on Facebook or some other form of social media and you see, a testimonial, well, maybe it works for them, but is that a marketing or is that really based on evidence? And here we find that it has insufficient evidence for weight loss. So there as a healthcare professional, I'd have trouble recommending this. I would recommend it. One other one I wanted to show you guys just for fun would be caffeine. Caffeine, for example, has been shown to help with endurance sports. This is something that may be of interest to you. Have it in a form of coffee, but this you can also get any tea extracts and things like that have caffeine. And so this is something that is considered a supplement and you would need to pay attention to as to if it's appropriate for you to take. Have effects for, and it has a few listed out, lightly effective for mental alertness. That's why so many people like their cup of coffee in the morning or their tea. But then we have possibly effective for. Here it's less likely, but here we see athletic performances on there. So it can help with endurance sports, possibly ineffective for, and then insufficient data, which means we really need studies before we can say anything about it. You can see we have some concerns, and these are medications that it can interact with. So that is the Natural Medicines Database. I just wanted to show you that to let you know that there is research out there. There are a lot of resources available to people and to health professionals, and then they can factor in your medications and your overall health goals. You may say, well, I'm not a health professional. How in the world am I going to research it on my own? I'll tell you about a few other resources that I'm really aware of through sports nutrition. Do apply more to athletes, but are something that you may want to be aware of yourself. So first look at this Aegis Shield. It is an agency that tests supplements, and they do it primarily for athletes, and they can show if a supplement is approved or allowed for athletes for their sport. When it comes to agencies and institutions, if an athlete is taking a banned substance, it can actually mean that they cannot play, and they can get fined, and they can have additional penalties placed upon them. So this is really serious because this can interfere with their athletic career. So Aegis Shield is an app. It's actually free. It's a website, and you can plug in specific supplements, and it will tell you if they are okay, if they are something that you need to be cautioned about. They label them okay, caution, or ban. And so this can be a helpful thing for you. Again, it's an app and a website. And one thing to know is that roughly 10% of supplements in the sports arena are contaminated. And that means that they have potentially a substance that's not allowed for sports and could get an athlete removed from their sport. But sometimes they can have counterfeit medications in there. Things even like Viagra or antidepressants are often found in these supplements that are contaminated. And so that's something that you need to be aware of because you go out there and you think that you are getting a natural substance from a plant, but you may be getting that something is partly tainted with a contaminated or a counterfeit medication. Another website that I wanted to show you about is the Office of Dietary Supplements, and this is available. It's a website, and I'm going to go to it real quick. It is affiliated with the National Institutions of Health, so they base their evidence on science and what we know from research supplements. So as you can see, they also have fact sheets. So I want to point out the dietary supplement fact sheet for weight loss. List out some supplements that are often taken. Let's look at, for example, chromium. Is it? Tells you it's a mineral. And will it help you lose weight? Well, might. Is it safe? It's actually found in food and kind of tells you what are symptoms to taking it. And so it goes through and it lists out different supplements. Hoodia is a plant in Africa. It has been shown to help. Does it work? Is it safe? This is an interesting supplement that had been counterfeited. They were selling for a while Hoodia supplement, and it was Hoodia, but then if there's random testing done on it, it wasn't. Because Hoodia in certain regions in southern Africa is a plant that is actually protected and is not supposed to be used for mass marketing. So Hoodia is a supplement, if you're taking it for weight loss, that you would want to make sure that it's actually in the supplement that you're taking, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But Office of Dietary Supplements is another great resource for you if you're just wanting to browse specific supplements for topics. This website I want to show you is another sports nutrition website. Again, it has an app. It actually looks like the icon right here, this black and green icon. And this is a free app. It's the World Anti-Doping Agency. And again, they are like Aegis Shield in that they randomly test supplements to determine if they're banned or allowed. And the target audience would be athletes. So it's not necessarily the individual consumer, but something to be aware of. So there's some websites for you to educate yourself and really find out more about supplements. So walk away, what are some recommendations that you may want to can apply to your life? Well, I would recommend that you become an informed consumer. Request evidence-based research. Look for it on your own, possibly go to the Office of Dietary Supplements through the NIH, talk to your physician, talk to a registered dietitian, and really have the discussion on, is the cost of the supplement worth the benefits and the risks that I may potentially be including. A couple of risks that I wanted to also mention: if someone has celiac disease, which is an autoimmune condition where you have gluten, then your reaction actually can attack the microvilli in your intestines. And medications actually could have gluten in the coating. So this is something you want to pay attention to. This is not necessarily the supplement that's the problem, but it could be the coating or the way that it's packaged. And then also you want to make sure the supplements that you're taking are appropriate for you. So, for example, a lot of times people are recommended to take calcium and vitamin D supplements for their bone health. But one thing to know about calcium is every individual can only absorb 500 milligrams of calcium at a time, which means if you buy a calcium supplement, that's 1,000 milligrams, which you can find at stores or online. you need to waste about 500 milligrams of it. And so was it really worth the cost? So then finding the appropriate supplement for you. And then the other thing is, when you're thinking about supplements, let's think about, is my diet giving me these nutrients or not? If you notice that you're lacking something, then you do want to consider supplements. But if you're eating a healthy diet and you're really getting a variety of vitamins and minerals, and you don't have any reason that you would be malabsorbing these nutrients, then it may not be appropriate. One example is folic acid. This is actually a B vitamin, which is a water-soluble vitamin. So a lot of times when people think about water-soluble vitamins, they think, well, it's okay because if I get extra, I'm just going to slough it off. I'm not going to, it's not like my fat-soluble vitamins that they're going to stay on my body longer. But one thing to know about folic acid, if you get in excessive amounts, would be over 1,000 milligrams of folic acid a day, this can actually hide a B12 deficiency. And B12 is a vitamin that helps with nerve communication. And so if you are having a deficiency that goes undiagnosed for a long time, it can actually lead to permanent nerve damage. So supplementation is appropriate, but what I'm trying to convince you of is that over-supplementation is not appropriate. Where in our foods, you can get folic acid from citrus, you can get vitamin B12 from protein sources like chicken, and by eating these foods have a natural checks and balances. So when you eat them, you're going to absorb some of the nutrients, but typically not in excess. And so we have some studies that individuals who took vitamin A, for example, when they took it from their food, they were likely to have a toxicity when they had a supplement of the same dose, but it was removed from the other nutrients in that food. So that's something to consider. Also, pay attention to labels more than the claims. This goes back to Hoodia that I mentioned, that they can say it's Hoodia, but is it really in there? And sometimes, because there is not a regulatory agent like the FDA before it goes on the market, your buying is not always what it says it is. So I would recommend that you look at supplements that are third-party tested. Sometimes they have a gold seal on there that a company that is not getting a financial kickback is randomly testing these supplements to verify that what's in there is in there. So that's one way to make sure that the supplement you're taking is really there. Also to look for the USP label on supplements. This is the USP verified dietary supplement, and it is given by the U.S. Pharmacopoeia Convention, and they do have a strict or more rigorous testing of supplements before they put their label on there. So you can really trust that what is in the supplement is what's on there when you buy it. And these are what added, going back to cost, you can find supplements with the USP label at your regular grocery store,